I was in the room when 9/11 changed everything, and what I witnessed that day will shock you. When the towers fell, I was the person authorized to relocate the entire command structure of the U.S. military. I moved everyone, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, the Deputy Secretary of Defense, the Secretary of Defense, the entire leadership of the U.S. military, 700 feet underground to an alternate command center. But here's what really nobody talks about. In that secure video teleconference with the president and the entire executive branch, I noticed something that still haunts me to this day. The military leaders who had seen real combat were visibly shaken. But the civilian leadership, they were eerily calm, almost like they knew something was coming. I had just gotten out of the Army. This was my first civilian job at the Pentagon. I was responsible for continuity of operations. Basically, if something catastrophic happened, I was the guy who had to help relocate the leadership for the Department of Defense. September 11th started like any other day. As fate would have it, I had a meeting set up at the primary relocation facility in the mountains of West Virginia at 9 o'clock in the morning on September 11th, 2001. Then everything changed in minutes. The Pentagon got hit. The National Military Command Center at the Pentagon was overwhelmed. And suddenly we needed to initiate failover protocols. I had to make that decision that would normally take committees and hours of planning in real time. We had a playbook, and a process. So I relocated all the key leaders to Site R, the massive underground facility in the mountains of West Virginia. Rumsfeld, Wolfowitz, General Shelton, General Shinseki, and the other Joint Chiefs. And then I found myself in this secure video teleconference. Picture this: the president, vice president, Condoleezza Rice, General Powell, Mayor Giuliani, somehow, the entire power structure of America on one call. And I'm just sitting in the back of the room, a fly on the wall, watching everyone's reaction. This is what really stays with me. General Shelton, who I'd worked for when I was at Fort Bragg, he grew up in the tobacco fields of North Carolina. He was 6 foot, I don't know how tall. Green Beret, was in Vietnam. He'd seen some serious stuff, and he knew this was his Pearl Harbor. You could see it in his face, the weight of the event and what it meant. But the civilian leadership, they were just calm, not concerned. And at this time, I thought they were just not aware of the real gravity of the moment. Now, in high stress situations, you either respond calmly because you have tons of experience, or you have some pre knowledge of what's coming. And that wasn't the only strange thing. A few days later, I'm sitting in the back of the National Military Command Center, 700 feet underground, in a shift change brief. And this colonel just casually mentions that some of the recovery workers found multiple tractor trailers in the subway tunnels a few blocks from the trade centers, and they're full of gold. Think about that. And we had maybe, I don't know, what, 2 hours from the impact on the towers to collapse. You're not calling U-Haul to move some gold. Someone was already moving this. Now, why am I telling you this? Because that day taught me something crucial about leadership under extreme pressure. The body knows. The nervous system picks up on things that our conscious mind hasn't yet processed yet. Those military leaders felt it in their bodies, the magnitude, the change of what was coming. They knew this was their Pearl Harbor moment. I literally didn't sleep for a week after 9/11. We were 700 feet underground, no sunlight. I felt it in my body. My nervous system was completely dysregulated, and I realized that if I was going to perform at the highest levels, I needed to understand my body's intelligence. That's what led me deep into heart rate variability, nervous system optimization, understanding how high performers can maintain clarity when everything's falling apart. Because when you're in the boardroom making decisions that affect thousands of jobs and you're leading through a crisis, your body's intelligence is either your greatest asset or your biggest liability. Leaders who trust their body's intelligence that day made better decisions. The ones who ignored it didn't have that awareness. They missed critical signals. If you're a board member or executive who wants to develop that same level of situational awareness and nervous system resilience, I've got more stories and frameworks that can help. Next week, I'm going to tell you about the other thing I discovered in those classified briefings that completely changed how I think about leadership under pressure. Because sometimes the most important intelligence isn't in the reports, it's in your body.